I before we start though, for fellas like me who like, yeah, I might be wearing like 3 Gucci belts sort of layered on top of each other in the style of Johnny Depp, but I don't really know much about luxury brands. What is underneath the LVMH umbrella?
So it's about 60 different subsidiaries that manages like 75 different brands, I think. And they're constantly like buying more. I will refer to this a bunch during this episode, but I really think so much about Katamari Damacy. Did you never play Katamari Damacy?
You've mentioned Katamari Damacy on
First
the
of all,
show
it has
before,
one of the best soundtracks of a video game ever. Don't fucking come at me, fucking nerd freaks.
I won't.
But it really does. But you play a little guy and you just like roll up the world. Like, so you start really small and you roll up, like, you're like rolling. Yeah.
Sucking everything up.
Yeah, and so you pick up like an eraser, and then you pick up like as you get bigger and bigger, you start picking up bigger and bigger things until by the end of the game, you're like picking up the world and then the universe, and then so it's like kind of this like crazy. It was a cool game.
Can you pick up God?
There is a funny king that kind of looms over everything. Actually, now that I remember.
God is
but anyway, I think about that when I think about this, and kind of Arnaud's approach to business, which is just sort of like gobbling up the world, kind of. And so LVMH is that. We should say LVMH, Louis Vuitton, Moet Hennessy. So Louis Vuitton itself is by far the world's largest luxury brand. It has earnings of about 12 billion euros a year, which is crazy. Revenues of like 23 billion, but that's just, earnings. Net profit margin is like more than 50%.
Which is actually, you say that about just Louis Vuitton, but that's true of a lot of the luxury like clothing brands within the LVMH portfolio.
Yeah, which is way more than you would think, and also way more than a lot of like fast fashion places.
I get that in a sense, just because the margins are slimmer there, but like the profit margins are incredible with this stuff.
So then Moet Hennessy is obviously, that's kind of like the alcohol division, and they own other alcohol brands. You mentioned Dom Perignon, that's one. Veuve Clicquot, Cheval Blanc, Belvedere Vodka.
You're drinking that right now.
A ton of other fashion brands: Dior, Celine, Givenchy, Fendi, Loewe, Ramova, Pucci, Loro Piana, Berluti, J.W. Anderson, Kenzo, Marc Jacobs. Then there's the jewelry division. They just bought and had a huge acquisition of Tiffany & Company. They're redoing all of the stores in the U.S. It's a big project. Bulgari, Chaumet, Tag Heuer. Then they've got beauty. They own Sephora. They own Fenty Beauty. They own Makeup Forever, Acqua di Parma. They own a ton of department stores. There's a huge one in Paris called Le Bon Marché. It's like very famous, like early, I don't remember when it was built, but it's like kind of like a shining, shining star of the French department store. They just opened a new one that we're going to talk about, the Samaritain. They own the Belmond Hotel Company. They own like luxury trains and cruise ships.
You own trains?
Yes. There's these luxury trains that basically operate the old Orient Express. Yes. But are like insane, like beautiful, like all wood interior and velvet, like insane. And they have like butlers, and it's like literally like an absurd 19th century train experience.
I would feel ridiculous talking to a butler. Wouldn't you feel like such an asshole?
Yes.
Get me that Dom Perignon.
I mean,
boy.
But I just want to so remember, they have this company, $500 billion euro valuation. And to kind of situate it more, LVMH, it's one of the world's biggest companies.
Yeah.
You continually, FT, Bloomberg, these people, we were talking about it in the same conversation as Meta, Tesla, Berkshire Hathaway, Amazon, like LVMH is up there. And I think to Americans, we just don't really think about that because it's not an American company.
No, certainly not.